book review, I've got a good book. Now, oddly, this book was a very difficult read. Now, this book was very good, but it was, however, read. And the reason being is it's just small words and lots of detail. Lots of detail. But the book I have for us today is Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion by Robert Cialdini, I believe. He's got a PhD in psychology, and I believe, let me see here. Has a PhD in psychology and is referred to as the Presidents of Influence at Work, an international training consultant company based on his groundbreaking body of research on the ethical business applications of the science of influence. Now, isn't that crazy? But we're going to dive in here to the book because I'm actually oddly in a rush. I have to work tomorrow and I've had a day, so I'm filming this at 10:17 at night. So, we're going to dive into the book here. And the rule enforces uninvited debts. Now, we are talking about here the power of is such that by first doing us a favor, strange, disliked, or unwelcome others can enhance the chance that we will comply with one of their requests. However, there is another aspect of the rule besides its power that allows this phenomenon to occur. Another person can trigger a feeling of indebtedness by doing us an uninvited favor. Recall that the rule only states that we should provide to others the kind of actions they have provided us. It does not require us to have asked for what we have received in order to feel obligated to repay. For instance, the Disabled American Veterans Organization reports that its simple mail appeal for donations produces a response rate of about 18%. But when the mailing also includes an unsolicited gift, grown individualized address labels, the success rate nearly doubles to 35%. This is not to say that we might not feel a stronger sense of obligation to return a favor we have requested, only that such a request is not necessary to produce our indebtedness. So what I just read there is the power of reciprocity rule is by doing a favor, you're more than likely to get something in return. Now, or unwelcome others can enhance the chance that we will comply with one of their requests. However, there is another aspect of the rule besides its power that allows this phenomenon to occur. I love how he calls it a phenomenon. Another person can trigger a feeling of indebtedness by doing us an uninvited favor. So the reason for this, for example, is like when you go to a coffee shop. They are doing you a favor by giving you coffee, and in return, you are paying them money, which makes the store money. So you might think, well, gee, that's pretty basic. I mean, it is, but if there's something in return, it is a very good way to, oddly manipulate people or to get people to do things to help you out. It's like helping someone move, and they offer food and stuff if you help them move. Think about that for a second. And some words that were really hard to read, and it was just hard to put the pieces of together what he was talking about. Because what I just read to you might be hard to understand, but honestly, it's like the Disabled American Veterans Organization reports they did. The produces and response rate is of about 18%, when the mailing also includes an unsolicited gift. The success rate nearly doubles to 35%. When they have an unsolicited gift, the return rate of getting back with them is 35%. This is not to say they might not feel a stronger sense of obligation to return a favor. We have requested only that such a request is not necessary to produce out indebtedness. So honestly, what he's saying there, favors don't have to deal with indebtedness, as in when you do a favor for somebody, the person, when you can't give something. Debts, I guess you could say, but honestly, that is something you do not have to do. So think about that. The rule enforces uninvited debts, the reciprocity rule, the power of the reciprocity rule. Something similar, but it's called the rejection then retreat sequence. So listen to this. A different experiment examined whether the rejection then retreat sequence caused victims to feel so manipulated that they would refuse any further requests in the study. The targets were college students who were each asked to give a pint of blood as part of the annual campus blood drive. One group of targets was first asked to give a pint of blood every 6 weeks for a minimum of 3 years. The other targets were asked only to give the single pint of blood. Those of both groups who agreed to give a pint of blood and who later appeared at the blood center were then asked if they would be willing to give their phone number so they could be called upon to donate again in the future. Nearly all the students who were about to give a pint of blood as a result of the rejection then retreat technique agreed to donate again later, 84%, while less than half of the other students who appeared at the blood center did so, 43%. Even for future favors, the rejection then retreat strategy proved superior. Strangely enough, then it seems that the rejection then retreat tactic spurs people not only to agree to a desired request, but actually to carry out the request and finally to volunteer to perform further requests what could be about the technique that makes people who have been duped into compliance so bewilderingly likely to continue to comply. For an answer, we might look at the requester's act of concession, which is the heart of the procedure. We have already seen that as long as it is not viewed to be a transparent trick, the concession will likely stimulate a return concession, but what we have not yet examined is a little-known pair of positive byproducts of the act of concession. Feelings of greater responsibility for and satisfaction with the arrangement, it is the set of sweet side effects that enables the technique to move its victims to fulfill their agreements and to engage in further agreements. For example, with the blood drive, those who gave the most blood were asked to donate again later, and not only that, they were asked to give more to whoever. So for example, again, 84%, while less than half of the other students who appeared in the blood center did so, 43%. Nearly all the students who were about to give a pint of blood as a result of the rejection then retreat technique agreed to donate again later, 84%, the ones who gave more. While less than half of the other students who appeared at the blood center did so, 43%. Even for future favors, the rejection and retreat strategy proved superior. So for example, those who gave more blood did more favors than the students who gave less blood. Because first they didn't want to do it, and then they retreated, and then they came back and you know what, let's do this. And they didn't reject the offer and, then retreat sequence. So honestly, there's no rejection or retreat there. I believe that's what I'm saying. But like I said, this book was hard to read. So that's my view of this stuff. So feel free to read this book and let me know what you think. Mostly though, when it comes to doing favors for people, at least how I'm going to turn this or bind this into life, is you don't want people to take advantage of you, but you also don't want people to look at you as the guy they go to for favors. Honestly, you do not want to be that guy that people go to just for favors. Because honestly, there's no human connection, there's no love, there's no kindness, it's just the guy. It's what you see in movies or in high school, the bully that is nice to a kid because the kid does the homework for the bully. There's no love there, there's no human connection, it is just a favor, it's just him taking advantage of somebody. So you do not want to be taken advantage of in your life. It's miserable, and it's miserable because people who do it are not evil, but they're just people you don't want to be around. They are people who are just the kinds of people you do not want to associate yourself with. Why? Because they will do that for the rest of their lives. I have learned that some people don't change. Now, when I say some people don't change is possible, but there are some people who you can tell by their body language and the way they act, and when you try to talk sense into them, they believe the way they act is normal. And to be honest, if they believe that, and they believe that for a long time, I believe for the possibility of change, but they have to be willing to make that change. It's like with your life. You have to be willing to make that change. You have to be willing to the projection then retreat method, or the rule of reciprocity. I gotta figure out how to pronounce that. You gotta be willing to make those changes to learn those skills in your life. So think about that for a second. The third and final thing I have for you for the law of influence is I may film this influence people for a good reason. You don't want to just manipulate people. I know there are books out there of how to manipulate people, but you really do not want to be the person that manipulating people is not cool. It is not. And I don't care who you are. Manipulating people is not cool. It just is not. But now, in manipulating people as in, sometimes it's kind of cool when you see in movies, I think it's Catch Me If You Can that I brought up multiple times on this channel, where the guy manipulates people and basically tricks them, which is kind of a mixture, but tricks them enough to where, hey, he makes these people believe that he is a pilot, that he is a doctor, that he is a lawyer. is that clever enough to do that. And he manipulates them and doesn't care. That's like the big thing, is he doesn't care that he's swindling all these people. Now, yes, that is a really cool true story, but you do not want to be like that. You do not want to be swindling people. Now, the third and final thing that I have for this book review is about commitment. So listen to what Robert Cialdini has to say here. Once an active commitment is made, then self-image is squeezed from both sides of consistency pressures. From the inside, there is a pressure to bring self-image into line with action. From the outside, there is a sneakier pressure, a tendency to adjust this image according to the way others perceive us. And because others see us as believing what we have written, even when we've had little choice in the matter, we will once again experience a pull to bring self-image into line with the written statement. So think about that for a second. And because others see us as believing what we have written, even when we've had little choice in the matter, we will once again experience a pull to bring self-image into line with the written statement. Once an active commitment is made, then self-image is squeezed from both sides of consistency pressures. So what I see about that is when you commit to a self-image or commit to an identity, it's really hard to change that. Now, yes, my identity is in Christ. However, very, very nice guy outside of this YouTube channel. I'm a nice guy. I talk to everybody. I work out. I fight. I learn about building muscle. I'm learning Spanish, and I'm learning about my job at the place. It's hard, I will say, but it'd be really hard for me to change my lifestyle. It'd be really hard for me to go from being a mean asshole one day to just being a regular guy. It'd be hard for me just to be a jerk or to even not work out. Imagine if someone told me, yep, for a month, don't work out, don't do fighting, and just find something else to do. Now, what would I do? Honestly, I'd probably go get coffee. I had to do some physical activity, but since it's the summertime, I'd probably swim and walk. I would probably go to bars, or at least go to a bar and bond with the bartender. Something weird like that. But the reason I bring up those ideas is because those are things to do to get out of the house. But also, from outside there is sneakier pressure, a tendency to adjust this image according to the way others perceive us, and because others see us as believing what we have written, like I just read. So, you want other people to see, I want people to see me as a nice guy and as a person who works hard in the gym and at his job. And I've done that to an extent. I do have my days at my job where I don't want to do it, and I have days at the gym where I don't want to hit it as hard. But your self-image is what's selling to other people. Your self-image is how others perceive you. So, it's called, it's not mentioned in here, but it's called, value judgment. It's like saying, hey, I'm handsome and I'm beautiful. Okay, well, how does the outside world perceive you? You may say that, and you may say that to comfort yourself, but how does the outside world perceive you? How does the outside world think of you saying that? So, honestly, people would be like, well, David, you're short. That's probably the main thing they would get. My hair, which that also reminds me, I did spar tonight, so my hair is all messed up. Please do not say anything about it. But anyway, honestly, when it comes to that, though, I'd never do that because my feelings get hurt too easily. But but anyway, so how others perceive you with the commitments you made to yourself, it's funny, but that's what life is. That's how other people perceive you, and that's how it works. That's how everything works. Your self-image is how other people perceive you. And to be honest, in life, when it comes to perceiving, other people perceiving you, you want people to say good things about you. So, the takeaway for this video, I'm probably going to make one like this again because this was kind of hard to read, but I might find examples that are a little more viewable. But the takeaway for this video is commit to yourself, do favors for people in a good way, and the most important thing is don't let people take advantage of you. Do not let people control your life. You control your life. God is the center of your own universe, and His plan for you is not to be taken advantage by somebody. So I want you to think about that for a second. My name is David Eugene, and this is Influence, the Psychology of Persuasion by Robert B. Cialdini. I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you all have a great day. And if you read this book, feel free to let me know in the comments. Feel free to let me know in the comments how you understood it, how you perceived it, and honestly what good ideas the author had to influence people. I want to thank you all for watching, and you